Yes, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Another day, another bleeding drama at Manchester United, and I'll do a bit of a recap for those who are like, "Wait, what's happened, Steve?" Well, we've started the league and we've lost 3 out of 5, and we haven't looked good in the ones we actually won. The Glazer family are mega indecisive about selling the club, although there was a lot of leaks about that last night. And then I questioned the leaks that came out last night because of all the other leaks that came out last night. And sometimes you think, like, as someone just said, "Oh, talk about the ownership, so people shut up." Like, feels a little bit like that might have happened, doesn't it? You've got the assault allegations surrounding Anthony, the circus that's going on with Greenwood, the circus and fucking mum statements coming out of Harry Maguire. You got the injuries to players that we've just signed. The fucking club's in a mess at the moment. Absolute mess at the moment. Like, there is not one bit of positivity to be had as a Manchester United fan right now. Not one, right? So let's look at Ten Hag as it stands right now. Started last season poorly. Figured it out, got going, went on an incredible run. Brilliant home record run that included some of the biggest names in world football. We obviously had a very positive EFL Cup final, coming away with a trophy. I think we had a poor away record. And, I've recorded my preview just this morning, and talking about, going to Bayern trying to find something with our away records. Shocking. And it's quite funny how we lurched from Ollie didn't have this defined identity, and that was a massive drama for some people. But he was excellent away from home because he was adaptable. Now, I think there's probably some stuff Ten Hag could learn from Solskjaer in terms of being adaptable on the road. I think there's a lot of other aspects where Ten Hag, could teach Ollie a fair few things. But I think that one aspect of Ollie's management, we literally set records on the road, and we went to places like the Etihad and we put it on them. And even the night in Paris, like, this United side under Ollie would always find a way to have a go, and he wasn't too proud to shit can his plan A and would go and find a way to win. That is something that we haven't seen under Erik Ten Hag at the moment. That aside, there's been a ton of new signings, and we've joked about the Ten Hag signing-ometer, where there's has he played for Ten Hag is a massive indicator of whether or not he will be signed. And then you've got the not, like, I've got this vision in my head of Ten Hag just balancing his forehead on his desk at Carrington because of the amount of shit that's coming his way. Every key news outlet sent reporters to Getafe's game this weekend. Are we doing that for every loan? Or was there a little bit of rubbernecking at a car crash? Because that's what it felt like to me. Obviously, the Anthony allegations that have surfaced and have no certainty on their ending and when they'll get resolved. Sancho versus Ten Hag. The timing of that statement and the absolute shit show that's come out of that, the fact that he's now been banished out for the first team, rumours of him refusing to apologise, and you got the Harry Maguire situation, which seemed to get dumped on United's doorstep, when reality is Gareth Southgate created this fucking mess and then poured petrol on it by talking about it in a press conference. Then we get the media leaks. Now, as of last weekend, I'm not on anyone's side. I'm on Manchester United's side, and I want the best for the club. That sometimes might mean that I think Sancho did the right thing and the club did the wrong thing. Sometimes I might think that Sancho did the wrong thing and the club did the right thing. And it could be a mixture of combination of those. With every single action someone has taken, I can go from the left to the right of it because it's a fluid situation. So on the Sancho front, I believe Sancho probably was shit in training or didn't turn up for training, or what I think is very realistically happened is I think that Sancho's probably kicked off in training and said, why does Anthony still keep getting played? Is it because you've signed him? He might have said some words that were maybe a little bit stronger than that. Ten Hag's blew his lid with him and he's booted him out of the squad for it, or took him out of the Arsenal squad for it that weekend. Then you try and look back and extrapolate on what's happened in their relationship prior. And I think from Ten Hag's point of view, he might have gone, I've done everything I can. I've kept this under wraps. I've kept the kid out of the limelight, and he's still not fucking giving me what I want. I'm going to make it public. Now, that's my take on a situation. I'm not saying that's what's happened. That's my take on what might have happened. And then Sancho didn't react how he expected. He's put a statement out there. It was such an ill-timed statement, because if he puts the statement out 24 hours later or sees the stuff that falls out from Anthony, he probably doesn't put any statement out whatsoever. This all gets swept under the carpet. Jadon Sancho probably starts at the weekend and probably starts on tomorrow night in Bayern, right? In Munich. But that's not what happened. We had this utter shit show. We have Sancho then going to New York, which I think was that was ill-advised. And then all the rest of it. And then you see Wan-Bissaka got ill. Right, well, did you have to go to New York as well? You just think there's so many bad decisions that I'm making out here. But then following what happened with Ten Hag and Sancho, when it first came out in the post-match, there was an absolute character assassination of Jadon Sancho. Now, whether Jadon Sancho was in the wrong for what he did at training, whether he was in the wrong for putting a statement out, whether he was in the wrong for seemingly refusing to apologise, there's a rumour going around that that's happened. The character assassination was also wrong. It didn't require it. And it was an obvious character assassination. People talking about what he was like when it was photo shoot time. Yes, part of your job as a footballer is that you have to attend the photo shoots. Does he have to be the life and soul of the party? People talking about, oh, he's very quiet. It's like, you got to read the fucking room. Why is this information coming out, and who is putting this information out? And I didn't like that. I didn't like that information that was coming out. It's felt to me like a targeted campaign against Sancho. Now, I think Sancho's probably done at United, right? But it didn't need that. And actually, if it's someone from the club doing that, you're fucking damaging the resale value on this kid. It's just, every single thing about this football club is not smart. The same way that a manager will never come out in a press conference and go, fuck me, he is for sale. I'll take anything, just take him off my hands. Because then you're going to lose money on him. If someone from the club is doing this to Jadon Sancho, the club is going to lose money on him. And that's not fucking smart from someone who works for the club. And then we have these leaks that have appeared. So the Keys Voss one that came out. So there's, let me just get my actual notes up on this. I've just freeballed all that. So this is Matt Hughes in the Mirror. He says, concerns have been raised within the club over the increasing involvement of Ten Hag's agent Keys Voss in the club's transfer activities. Keys Voss Entertainment Group have become the go-to agency in negotiating player signings and sales for United, as well as providing informal advice on the transfer market. Ten Hag's son also works for the agency as an analyst. Sources said it's not unusual for top clubs to have strong links to agencies due to personal relationship by key players, which often brings advantages in the transfer market, right? So this is almost a non-bit of news, man, right? So on one hand, you're saying, yeah, this isn't unusual. On the other hand, you've made it news by the fact that you've come out and said there's concerns being raised over the increase in involvement, right? I would urge you to go and look into the relationship of George Mendes and Jose Mourinho. I would urge you to go and look into the relationship of Sir Alex Ferguson and his son's agency. I would urge you to go look at any fucking football agency, New Era, which is Rio's gaff. They provide players to their managers. Do you know why they do that? It's not about, oh, let's keep all the money within the agency. Do you know what it's actually about? Is when you're doing recruitment, one of the fucking most difficult things to know is the personality and the work rate and that of a player. Because I can go and ask the club, what's he like as a lad? And they're going to, if they want to sell him for big money, they're going to be like, he's fucking great. Future England captain. Get hold of him, right? But if you're his agency, you'll know when he's late. You'll know if he's getting bollocked all the time from his coaches. You will always have the analysis team on him, knowing what things he can improve on. And that agency is going to want the manager that they also represent to be able to be successful. So they're not going to put players that they represent with a manager that they also represent unless they genuinely think it's a positive thing. Because they can lose out twice. Why would, if I'm running an agency and I represent a manager, and my manager's at a Premier League club, and I represent a player that's, I know, in Holland, for example. And I don't think that manager's all that, or I think that manager might get sacked. Why would I put my player there? No, I want the best for both parties in this. It's not a negative. It's a positive, because you're getting the inside track. Any player that's at an agency, that the same agency as his manager, that goes and signs for a club, is a positive thing, because that tells me that they know about that player's personality traits, work rate, what he's like behind the scenes, probably a good fucking egg. One of the hardest things to find out is, what's the lad really like? Because no one's going to tell you the truth on that. But if you're at the same agency, they're absolutely going to tell you the truth at that. The fucking George Mendes, Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho almost exclusively shopped with George Mendes. Almost exclusively shopped there. But now I have to question, why the fuck has that leak come out? Concerns have been raised within the club. Well, someone in the club needs to have a fucking look in the mirror then. Because if concerns are being raised in the club and you're signing it off, you still have to sign it off. So whoever it is that put this out there, right? Whether it's someone within the recruitment department, whether it's someone in the board, grow a pair of bollocks and tell the gaffer to his face that you don't like the fact that we're always shopping with his agency. Or stop fucking leaking it to the press. Because you're being a fucking coward if you're part of Manchester United and you're going, well, I've got my concerns. Yeah? Did you raise those concerns in a meeting when it was due to us signing a player? Or did you shut the fuck up and take your paycheck and go home? Because you're part of the problem, you need to fuck off if that's the case. Have a fucking backbone. Pathetic. Next up from the Sun, so whatever. Bruno Fernandes confronted Scott McTominay after defeat to Brighton. Again, why is that news? Why is this news? Why does this not come out about any other fucking football club? And Lisandro Martinez and Victor Lindelof also lost it with each other. Now I wonder what defender might want that out there. Who the fuck knows? Hey, I wonder. Could be anyone, couldn't it? Hey. United has also denied reports that their players were involved in a furious dressing room defeat after the dressing room bust-up, after the defeat against Brighton on Saturday, right? According to the Daily Mail. Well, that's not good. I want my players, after the performance that we had where we were run ragged at home to Brighton, genuinely, right, I have to wear two hats, right? So as CEO of a football club, I have to have the welfare kind of side on it where you go, no, I don't want my players punching each other up. As a manager, I want the players to care enough that they might. I want the players to give a shit enough that they're going to dig somebody else out. You know, very fortunate enough that I get to ask Rio all sorts of questions about what United was like when we were fucking genuinely successful, what it was like being in a dressing room with Keane, with Rooney, with him himself, you know, with Gary Neville, with people who, and Ryan Giggs and Paul Scholes, and people who know what it's like to win. And it goes off all the fucking time. If you read any of these players' autobiography, like think about the 1999 team. That 1999 book by Matt Dickinson, by the way, there's so much in that. You know, Andy Cole and Teddy Sheringham don't hate each other and come to blows. Roy Keane and Peter Schmeichel don't fucking like each other and come to blows. Roy Keane and Teddy Sheringham doesn't fucking like him, grips him. Like, you don't have to be super best friends. You have to have the bottle to be able to grip someone when you don't think it's fucking going right. United might want to deny that it was involved in it. I don't want them to deny it. I would love it if the press office at United went, do you know what? I hope they fucking did, because we were shit. What excuse is there for not gripping each other? You know, you let this man run off you at a fucking corner, sort your shit out. Like, there needs to be so much more of that. Like, why is it fucking come out that they lost it with each other in there? Do you know what I mean? Fuck's sake. Then Romano's got one. The feeling amongst people close to the club is Ten Hag is not a problem. Extra sporting matters, i.e. the allegations. I mean, the allegations have got its own fucking room at Carrington now, I think. Injuries, there's 12 players in the mix. Sale process are causing problems for the day-to-day work, apparently. Ten Hag remains 100% committed to the project, believes they've been unlucky, and the club are completely backing him in the process. Are the club completely backing him in the process when people are out here talking utter fucking wibble and leaking shit to the press? This club's fucked. Absolutely fucked. Then you've got the recruitment team distancing themselves from Sophie and Amrabat. Now, the guy from Uppertiers messaged me last night and said that people had got the wrong end of the stick in this one a little bit. It was more a case of that Amrabat wasn't United's first choice. They had to go with their second choice because, or whatever choice Amrabat ended up being, because there just wasn't the money available to bring him in. But the way this stuff gets painted out in the media, it's fucking draining. It's absolutely draining. And then there's all sorts of other stuff coming out of here. And then you have to question, at the moment, you haven't got everyone pulling in the same direction at all. You've still got people looking for a way out of the club. You've still got people trying to put their side of things over. You might have people trying to fucking undermine within because they're not playing. Manchester United need to get rid of the dickheads. And whether that's people in the playing staff, whether it's these fucking weasels in the back room, whether it's some weasels in the fucking press department, whoever it is that thinks they can undermine the manager needs to fucking go. It's as simple as that. If you're not going to pull in the same direction as the rest of the players that are involved, the rest of the first team, then you need to fucking go. It's as simple as that for me. Let me know if you got any questions and comments. Let's get into them. Morning, Steve. Says not really, though. Morning. Mike says, how's the hand? I'm in about 10 minutes going to leave and I'm going to go hospital to get it redressed and sorted out. Thanks for asking. Simon says, the Amrabat leak wouldn't have seen the light under anyone else in any other era, maybe Tommy Dock. It might have seen the light in fucking Moyes, Christ. Full 11 of injured players. Yep. Randy says, why didn't the club do a background check on Anthony? It was 3 months before we signed him, the investigation started. Yeah, I question why didn't Ten Hag know about that? Because surely Ten Hag knew about that, right? Ryan says, Steve, there's actual fans calling for deserve it and using Ange as a yardstick to beat Ten Hag with. Find it hilarious. Neither would be able to implement their ideas at this club. Yeah, I do question how. I mean, we've seen it before, where managers have come in and been incredibly successful in terms of implementing their style of play, but then it's not been sustainable for them. I will see where De Zerbi lands up at the end of the season because Brighton in Europe is going to be a thing. Ditto with Postecoglou at Tottenham. You know, coming in and being impactful in the first few weeks. You know, Ten Hag had a few weeks where he was extremely impactful. And you know, we ended up winning a trophy last year. People seem to forget that. You know, look how long it took Arteta to turn things around at Arsenal, and he spent so much fucking money before he managed to turn them into anything, and they've still not actually done anything. One FA Cup, as I keep getting told by people, is not fucking success. And actually, we sacked Louis van Gaal the day he won that, so fucking get over yourself. Harry says, gets said a lot, but Keane nailed it when he says the players will down tools and throw each other under the bus whenever the going gets tough. Character over everything. Character over ability, even, to a certain extent. Wing says there's another case of players spitting the dummy out and downing tools now, aka throwing Ten Hag under the bus, like with all previous managers. Hungry says, Steve, hope the hand's healing well. Noticed that you've been hiding it. Get well soon. Not necessarily been hiding it, but it's fucking dirty, isn't it? Look, like I've had these bandages on for a week. It's bled through it in a few spots, actually. And it's grubby. So the bandage is getting redressed today, hopefully to a smaller one. But yeah, we'll figure it out. Pixie says, why can't I make content without mentioning Greenwood? I am talking about the fucking shit show that happened around the club. I haven't really spoke about anything about Greenwood except that we sent people to go watch him at the weekend. Oh, no one from the club, I guess, sent it, but news outlets sent it, and people were fucking covering it all weekend. Know what I mean? Brighton's the only team Ten Hag has lost to at home in the Premier League since joining. Yeah, I mean, again, you see all those records that come up, and then some just bullshit fake stats. Madness. Andy says, what happened to the Ten Hag Steve McLaren told us about? His wily assistant that was able to give him astute in-game tactical advice, which turns the games around. Some parts of that requires you to have chess pieces on the bench that you can actually throw in and make an impact with. Do you know what I mean? Abhinav says the issue is that the players are knackered, not got a physicality and conditioning, and can't take criticism and push it out on the manager. First name, last name says do a compilation on all of the leaks. You could do, couldn't you? There might even be 2 parts to it. Tom says it's a clear picture. Some of the players we have starting for us are really and truly mediocre. This isn't United. Do you know what? Yeah, they are. Admittedly, they are. And playing for Manchester United brings about different pressures than it does for playing for other clubs. But I just watched a team of fucking no ones from Brighton. Nobodies from Brighton. You know, a supposedly washed up Danny Welbeck and Lallana just come and just pop us. Right? Pop us. Blaine says, I agree. The young team looked far better in pre-season. I mean, they looked better. Yeah, they looked better at the time in pre-season. Prasad says, however, the management is crap. Did a U-turn on Greenwood based on media reports. Shows that we've given the media the right to take us for a ride. Yeah, I think that's correct, to be honest with you, mate. I think that the United were preparing for bringing him back. The way it all spun up and was like, oh, shit, no, we're not doing that. Like, this fucking club can't get anything right. They literally can't get anything right. They're fucking a nightmare. Ansab says Bayern Champions League tickets cost 60 to 120 euros. Tomorrow they start at 350 euros. That's what United bring to the table. Fucking hell. Skull Snack says I love Rashford, but Rashford and Anthony, the right forwards to play with a proper striker, or do they need a Vegas type? I mean, we haven't really had one that we can see with him, have we? Mike says, do I think Paul Mitchell would make a massive difference? Also, have I heard anything about a fitness coach at Ajax possibly coming? I heard something about a coach. Who's that lady? Not sure she was a fitness coach. No, she was more of an analyst. But she's not actually arrived, so I don't know what's going on with that. And in terms of, what was the other question? Paul Mitchell. My gut feeling is somebody like Paul Mitchell, if not Paul Mitchell, would be sensational for Manchester United. And I know Paul moved back to Manchester very recently. I believe he's living in the footballer belt of Alderley Edge. Paul's daughter lives opposite me. Like, not like down the road over there, like that house right there. I would love Paul to be involved in Manchester United. Not least because of that, by the way. I would very much like to be to have Paul Mitchell on board at Manchester United. His track record has been absolutely sensational. When you see teams that have popped up and done things that they've never done previously and never done since, look at what Southampton achieved. You go, oh yeah, Pochettino. Yeah, Paul Mitchell. And then, yeah, Spurs did it at Spurs. You know, it's not really, or it didn't really work out for him to the same level at Monaco. But the track record everywhere else and what he did with the Red Bull Football Group was, for me, it was simply impressive, and that was that. David says, do we actually have scouts anymore? I think we have more scouts than most clubs. It's whether or not they're fucking using them. Do I think Paddock could beat United at the moment? No. Do you know what, right? We won 10-0 in our league the other day, last weekend. And I was trying to say, like, I wonder how far up the league you would have to go to be 10-0'd. Because I don't necessarily think Macclesfield's level will be 10-0'd. Maybe Macclesfield themselves, because they're one of those teams, but like for every team in the league, I mean, Premier League, you're probably looking at 20-0s, 25-0s minimum. I don't know, conference, maybe? One of those. Don't know. No, we wouldn't beat United. They'd probably put 30 past us. I don't think people realise just quite how fucking good Premier League footballers are. I think teams in the conference would definitely 10-0 us. Teams in the conference north would probably 10-0 us. You know what I mean? Peter says nothing will ever change until there is change at the top. Big time. Abhinav says, saw useful Twitter threads by HTO, MUFC and Silver on how United are lacking and can manage the press. I think we need to be smarter in the pressing. We lack players with physicality. Neil says, prefer watching Paddock. That's fair. Phil Berry says, you defo beat Oldham. We defo wouldn't, right? Whether or not it'd be 10-0, I don't know, but we defo wouldn't beat Oldham. We would lose heavily to Oldham. Whether or not it'd be quite be 10, it'd be that, yeah. Aura says, Ollie back in. No. Notch says, Paddock still have conceded in that, could have conceded in that 10-0. Circumstances are different. Yeah. Zach says, Joel's insinuating sale news on Twitter today. Any thoughts or opinions? No, like I said, there would seem to be a bit of a raft of suggestions last night about sale talk. I wonder if it's been leaked. You know, it was the likes of Romano and stuff like that. There was a few places that seemed to have like, oh, there's a decision coming with the ownership. I mean, maybe there is, maybe there isn't. I don't fucking know. I'll tell you right now, I have no clue. No fucking clue. Show says, I see players constantly saying when we get our players back, it'll be fine. Don't agree with that. I think that it's that simple. What do I think? I think it sometimes can be as simple as you getting your first choice players in. I think Amrabat is a massive asset for the club, and once he gets back in, yeah, I think he'll make an enormous difference to us. Gok says standard PR bullshit again. Yeah. Abhinav says, I know for sure Bayern won't take things easy on amateur teams, literally winning 31 against them. Yeah, they always play an amateur team in pre-season, and I think, yeah, it's 27, 28 nil-ins galore. Ed says, me and my mates from Sunday League played a five-a-side against a group of Millwall Academy lads a couple of years back, got pumped 14-1. Simon says, could Paddock beat San Marino? I believe so. Yeah, so, and I'll give you the science behind that, right? Okay, so we play at level 13 of English football. I think we're probably a level 10 level of team. Why do I give you that? Well, evidence. The evidence being that we have played two teams from level 10 and we've beaten them both. So there's my evidence for that. We've just got to take our time working through the league because it takes fucking time, right? So we're at level 13. I think we're probably around about level 10. And the 21st Club, which is a big football data company, I asked them to, a geezer on Twitter called Omar, who runs it, I asked them what level are San Marino, because I think it's a waste of time when the likes of England play San Marino. There's no point. And he said San Marino, he said the lowest level that they go down to is level 8, right? So we're level 13. It goes down. Level 10 is where I think we are. Level 8 is where they rank. And he said San Marino are as far away from level 8 as level 8 is from the Premier League. He said it might even be further than that in terms of their ability and the metrics that they put it out together. So San Marino, theoretically, because obviously you can't pass it up any other way, theoretically are level 16. So just using science, Paddock would be ranked higher than San Marino. So I would have to say, yes, I think we could beat them. And you might disagree, and people are like, they're an international football team. They're a fucking group of lads picked from a population of about 30, so relax. You know what I mean? Brian says, at an all-time low supporting this team, it's draining social media, YouTube. Football was once entertainment, now it's a witch hunt for sackings, negative media, and more engagement than positive. Negative media gets more engagement than positive. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is by design or accident, but my channel does better when we win. I don't think I lose my napper when we lose, so I don't think... Yeah, no. Alex says, could have used Sancho versus Bayern as he knows German football, how we play. We'll get a 4-0 loss, and that's a positive. Fuck's sake. What's the league at level 10, says IR. The Northwest Cout that's the one that we're aiming to get into at level 10. Chris says, if we beat Bayern, all this will stop. It's a big fucking if. Where do I stand on fan cams calling for Ten Hag's head? What's a fan cam? And who's doing that? Like, you know what I mean? Because if it's a load of fucking melons, then it's a load of melons, isn't it? Can you say fan cams are calling for him? Does that mean fan channels, or does it mean people on fan cams? Jaren says, what's my thoughts on our man-to-man defending? Seems like we do it a lot, which ends up conceding more goals. You'd have to give me a specific example. Notch says, San Marino is practically one mountain in Italy. That's it. Yeah, and isn't it like a population of 30,000? Something like that. Abhinav says, I haven't watched Vibe since United lost, so basically think it all's true. Don't really want to listen to Joel. Andre says, player contracts should have severe cancellation clauses with huge penalties for players that break a list of not to do's. Yeah, I think player power goes a long way. No, a lot of players will go, well, I'm not going to sign that. Show Robbie had that labelled at him from Talksport that he makes more money from negativity, and he said he makes more from Arsenal when Arsenal are doing well, except that is provably not true. I mean, you can go and look on my channel, and I invite you to look at the biggest videos. They're transfers and when United have been successful and when we've won. Robbie's biggest fan cams are when all them lot were losing their fucking melons. Facts. Alex says, could Rooney, Carrick and any other former player and current managers coach United in the future? I mean, yeah, probably. Abhinav says, I think if Sancho changes his name to Jason Sanchez, he comes back. That's what's missing, I think. JB says, Ten Hag needs to play a bit of champ manager and start changing his tactics up a little bit. Shane says, I watched Bury FC during the international football break and it was awful football. Charlie says, my uncle's chairman of a level 7 to 8 club. Fancy a friendly? Yeah, could do that. Stuart says, we have relied on Rashford for too long. Just think of the shit he has around him, including coaching staff. Yeah. Kurt says, I'm convinced a lot of the fans today must have short relationships with any adversity and people just want to dip, no patience. Fucking bang on. Yeah, absolutely. I think there's so little actual resilience in people that they've not really been through any sort of fucking hardship. Like, you know, speaking about the fan cams and stuff, like, people losing their fucking melon and having these mad over-the-top reactions. Half of them, I think, are doing it because they're playing up or acting or some sort of shit like that, right? I have bold opinions, but you don't see me fucking losing my mind and crying on fucking camera when we lose and that. I've got far too much fucking perspective. Do you know what I mean? I've been to war. Like, my football team losing is annoying and it's frustrating, but, like, there's bigger things that fucking play here. And I wonder why people act like that, in all honesty. And I think it's fucking childish and immature, and they've not had any sort of fucking perspectives in their life. It's my opinion on that. Abhinav says, saw a clip where Ten Hag takes his team to play esports for team bonding and improving morale. Take them out now. Ash said it on our podcast, which has got another new name coming this week, which is the original name that we actually gave it, which is, they need a fucking night out. And do you know what? It sounds so fucking simplistic, but maybe they do. Maybe they do need a night out. Maybe they do. How's my Florida idea going? I'm not going Florida. I wish I was going Florida. Yeah. Gerard says, what's my thoughts on Rashford not crossing enough for Højlund? Pretty much one of my points on 5 things was all about that one, I think. The Big Lebrowski says, genuine question, when was the last time we thought we had a genuinely good performance? Not the result, but the actual quality performance where it felt like we were dominant. Doesn't happen. It's happened at home. It has happened at home. I think Barcelona was probably the last time I think we felt like that. When I was impressed, actually. But yeah. It's not happened enough, really. Simon says, Steve, I finished my master's degree recently. In my thesis, I slagged off John Terry and Stevie G. Then once submitted, I watched the 1991 highlights. Fucking send me it right? I want to actually see what a master's degree thesis looks like in which John Terry and Stevie G are slagged off. By the way, I wasn't going to go live on the back of this, but Simon fucking Jordan digging out Steve Bruce, right? If you fucking rate John Terry, then you have to automatically rate Steve Bruce, because they were the same fucking player in a different era. They were the exact same fucking player in a different era. Like, if you, like, what have they got, right? So they got a bit of a pass on them, bit of a switch, not the fastest, positionally can sometimes get dragged out a little bit, not adverse to a foul, put their head anywhere, come up with some match-winning fucking headers and goals. Steve Bruce and John Terry are the same fucking player, except one's so far up his own ass, you don't know what fucking day it is, and the other one has got a fucking account at a local kebab shop. There's no difference in them in terms of players. You start talking about Steve Bruce being a mediocre player, then you don't know fucking football. And I guarantee, because he's Cockney, you probably absolutely fucking worship the ground that John Terry walks on. Him and Steve Bruce were the exact same fucking player. Simple. Heaven's Soul said, what the fuck did Bruce do? Why is that Whopper bringing him up now? Exactly, I don't know. I have no fucking clue how that ends up getting brought up. Mental. SDP Mitchell says, Barcelona Spurs, even that game we built Liverpool, I felt we worked hard as a team. Yeah. Robert says, even when United had a toxic drinking culture, the spirit was much better. Yeah, I mean, do you know what? Maybe we need to get Nicky Welsh or Norman Whiteside in, actually, and have a conversation with this, because they were part of what was considered to be a bit of a toxic drinking culture, or witnessed a toxic drinking culture, I think it'd be fairer to say. But there was always a connection with the fans. That team, that late 90s team is fucking loved. Late 80s team is fucking loved. And it was sort of painted as being this unprofessional kind of side. Was it because they always... Is it because they always went and fucking beat Liverpool? Or not always, but they had a real good go at beating Liverpool. Anyway, I need to go because I've got to go and get my hand sorted out. But cheers for tuning in as always. Make sure to subscribe if you're not. There's a preview coming out a little bit later on. And of course, we will be live later with, or later after the game tomorrow. So cheers for tuning in. As always, make sure to subscribe. And I'll see you in a bit. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here